Is here, so I'm going to wait about another minute and we'll get started. So I'd like to welcome everybody to the North Central Civic Association's March meeting. My name is Terry Cantrell, and I am a member, a long-standing loyal member, and I'm substituting today for our president, Patty Antricon, who could not make it tonight, so I didn't dress for the occasion, so pardon me. But I'm also the president of the Hollywood Lakes Civic Association as well. I'd like to recognize some folks that are here. Of course, we have our Mayor Levy, who will be up in just a moment. This is his meeting. He's our featured speaker. But we have some other dignitaries here. Of course, we have the Chief Civic Affairs Officer for the City of Hollywood, Allison Saffold, is here. Thank you, Allison, for coming. All the members of the North Central Board are here. Of course, I have two Karens. I have Lily, Robert, Alex, Recio, of course, too. I'd like to recognize some other civic folks that are here, too. I see Connie from Representative Hillary Cassell's office is here. We have the president of the Downtown Parkside Civic Association, Lynn Smith, is in the back. One of my colleagues on the HLCA board is also here, Siobhan McLaughlin. Thank you, Siobhan, for coming. Very active in city affairs. And what else can I have? A couple of quick things. We're going to bring up our code and our NTL in just a moment, but I'd like to make an announcement. As a member of the Hollywood Historical Society, Karen Elberson, who's also on your board here, sponsors and puts together these wonderful lecture series. And the next one is April 27th, Sunday at 1 p.m. at the library on Sterling Road. It's going to be Hurricanes in Florida. And the speaker is well-known news feature writer Elliot Kleinberg. So Karen puts these things together every single month, all year long, and they're just fabulous. I've been to many of them. I even spoke one time about Preservation Board there. And it's really a great thing. So please, the Historical Society does such wonderful work. And thanks to Karen. Karen, thank you very much for putting it together.
We have to do the pledge, Terry.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. So before we get any further, let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Karen Elberson also informed me that we have a bunch of these wonderful Hollywood Centennial pins. I'm wearing one, as a matter of fact. If you'd like one of these to help celebrate our 100-year anniversary, the birthday party, please see Karen at the front desk, too. So.
One more really nice.
Okay, and another announcement, too. Whoops, I just lost that line. My wife, Lynn, helped me put this in.
Licensing on wheels.
Oh, licensing on wheels is going to be April 15th.
Sorry, make the announcement? Yeah. Yes, please. Sorry. There you go.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Yeah, tell them why it's a big deal. Can I tell them the issue? Yeah.
So,
Can I get an appointment, driver's license?
I was supposed to be ready, but I worked so much I didn't come ready. The April 15th, from 2 to 6, I'm taking appointments. Rep. Cassell and Commissioner District 1 Carol Shulham are hosting the flow, which is that the DMV comes to you. And I would like to have a paper and sign-ups, but I don't have it ready. But just know I'm going to write it down and put it somewhere, my info, so that at least you know who to direct to, etc. And that's all.
Excuse me, 1 minute.
They want to tell them what they're able to
come to you. You mean they come to your house?
No. Actually, what happens is the DMV sets up a portable or a temporary licensing setup. I happened to do this about in early February. Representative Woodson had it at the City of Hollandale Beach at their community center. I made my appointment 2 weeks in advance. I got a 10:15 slot. I was out there at 10:40. this is the only way to get your driver's license now,
I used to
folks.
have it at City
You
Hall.
don't want to go out there and stand on Pembroke Road for wherever. You want to do this. So thank you, Connie, for that. Really, we'll get that word out. We'll blast that out so everybody can hear it. Okay. Have I forgotten anything else other than the Pledge of Allegiance? Let me bring up our NTL tonight for his report, and that is here he comes right now, officer. We also have with us some very important people from our code compliance division. Angela Kirschmeier is here. She's assistant director, and Megan Ramos is supervisor over on my neck of the woods on the east side of town.
Neighborhood team leader.
Officer Martinez.
Yes. Again, welcome for you guys that have not met me before. I'm Officer Martinez with the Hollywood Police Department. I'm your neighborhood team leader. I will be giving you guys out my emails at the end of this meeting. That way you guys can contact me directly. Any issues, any problems that you guys have or need, or you want me to address or look over, you could come and approach me, and then we'll get to the bottom of it or come up with a plan to kind of resolve it. All right. As far as crime in our area, from last month to this month, we've had 0 robberies. We've had 3 aggravated assaults. We've had 3 burglaries, 1 vehicle burglary, and 1 vehicle theft. So the numbers have gone down since last month. All right. So kudos to everybody that's staying vigilant and lighting up their houses and getting the rings up and operational. Spring break is here, so we are going to see a lot more movements of the kiddos running around, riding bikes, and doing all that. Again, we stress, if you see something, say something. A lot of you guys have. I'm working with code, and trust me, we have our hands filled with complaints. So don't think we're not getting to you guys. It's a number of us, and there's a lot more of you guys. So, but we're getting to them, one by one. We're working as a team, and again, if you guys have any questions, you guys want to bring up to me any issues, I'll hang out in the back towards the end of the meeting, and we can address it on one-on-one basis. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Along with Officer Martinez, we have a number of other police officers over there, as well as one of our fire chief, and his staff is also here too, so thank you guys for coming. Our code officer is next. Let's have him come up and give his report. Hopefully nothing but good news. I know it's not that way with code, but...
Good evening, my name is Ernest St. George, Code Compliance Officer for Park East and parts of North Central. Over the past 30 days, there are 295 code cases open. Around 60 to 70% of them were garbage related. Then the rest were property standards, work without permits, been taking down a lot of snipe signs, and parking related issues. As far as in the other information I have, we created this flyer for people who like to let their dogs run free without a leash, to educate them that you have to have your dog on a leash for obvious reasons. So there's some on the table in the back. So if you have a new neighbor or tenants that they don't want to leash their dogs, you can try to educate them. If not, they don't want to listen. You know who to call. We'll go and talk to them. I'll leave some cards in the back. If you have any questions or issues you need to bring up to code compliance, you can reach out to us, and we'll do our best to respond. All right, thank you. Oh, yeah.
Why are there so many garbage complaints? Are they the people putting out the wrong garbage or the wrong time, or illegal dumping?
They're putting it out too early, or it's unacceptable.
Okay.
They're putting things that's not part of the program, so we have to go and educate them. Hey, we don't take these kind of things. You have to make arrangements to have them removed. That's why I know the majority of them it's either out too early or we don't take it. Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay, yeah, that pretty much answered my issue, and I did get to talk to the officer here in the back earlier about it. The savior all the time from hearing, but it's about hard dumping.
Yes. Yeah, if you see any piles with spray paint on them, that means we've already addressed it. So we just have to make arrangements to get it removed. So sometimes it happens quickly, sometimes it takes time because of scheduling and delays and stuff like that. Yes.
Yeah, but what about the garbage cans in the alleys? I mean, they're all over the place after the cars, and nobody brings them in. Isn't there a, brings them in behind your fence instead of leaving them sit all over the alleys? You go through the alleys.
24 hours.
They hit your mirrors and everything else.
Yeah, some of that is people not following that ordinance of where to store them. And some of it is Waste Pro, they're just storing them after, they service them. So it's a kind of a combination of issues we have to address. It's an ongoing, we try to educate the residents when we go through those alleys and see that.
Very good job.
All right, thanks.
Yes, ideally, your containers should be off the alley, should be on your private property if possible. And code officer's right, Waste Pro has a habit of not leaving them. They just leave them wherever they can, frankly. So, okay, I don't think I have forgotten anything else. I certainly hope not. So I'm going to bring up our main feature tonight, Mayor Josh Levy, and he, I believe, has been given a laundry list of things to talk about. So I can't wait to hear it.
All right, thank you. All right, let's see. Would you like me to use the microphone, everybody? Or is this good? Good, fine. Use the mic. Okay. All right. Well, good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here at the North Central Hollywood Civic Association. Our thoughts are with Patty Ancherkan, the association president. I know she's dealing with a family health situation, and so we wish her all of our thoughts and our prayers for the family. So Patty did, as Terry mentioned, provide me with a laundry list of questions that she thought would be relevant to some of the things that neighbors would be interested in. And our city staff was kind enough to write out the answers, the questions and the answers in this little booklet. And so I'd come in a little late because I had to park a little bit on the north side and follow Alex Riccio and find some parking. I never knew we had a little parking lot to the north of the street there. In any case, there's a board member there who's handing out these North Central update booklets. And so, but before I get to that, I just wanted to, of course, follow up on what Terry had mentioned, which is we're celebrating our centennial year of the city of Hollywood. Right? It's quite a milestone in the city's history. 100 years is enough time to have, traveled and gone through a journey as a community, people who founded the city and all of us along the way who bring the city up to today. And so I just want to reflect a little bit on that. Each year, you might know, I deliver the State of the City address that reflects on the achievements, the accomplishments, the challenges the city recently faced and is anticipated to face in the future. And during the centennial year, I, of course, reflected on the city's 100-year history. Our city's founder, Joe Young, had a very colorful copywriter, unless these were Joe Young's words himself, but part of the fanciful writings about the city and what it was envisioned to be in the beginning was that it would be a city where plain everyday folks can find health in its sunshine and ocean breezes, wealth in its predestined opportunities, and happiness in the contentment of a full life. And so you put all these things together: economic opportunity, an opportunity to live in a healthy way with surroundings that support that, and just a city that can lead to, again, a good living, and a city where you can live and make a living while living in it. And so we reflected on the 100 years of Hollywood, of course, starting with its founding years in the 1920s. Of course, it was incorporated in 1925. And the vision that Joe Young had for a very, back then, an exceptional plan, which was a city that was planned with different zoning districts and beautiful parkways, and Hollywood Boulevard was wider than the year, so just imagine, it was built really wide in the beginning. But in any case, what you see in today's Hollywood Beach and the Broadwalk and historic downtown Hollywood, is in the Lakes neighborhood, were all the original cities that enjoyed the vision of Joe Young. Of course, he planned the city all the way through Hollywood Hills. Unfortunately, he had an early and untimely death. I wonder to myself oftentimes, if Joe Young lived on, how could the footprint of Hollywood have been different if he was here? But he died an untimely death. And so the city had then seen the 1926 hurricane devastate all of South Florida. Everyone who kind of started coming here during the boom of the 1920s had left this land that was devastated by the great hurricane of 1926. The population, I think, dropped from potentially 25,000 to 2,500. The Great Depression soon followed, the stock market crash of the 1940s, The world wars took place, World War II. So it wasn't until late 40s and 50s that Hollywood started seeing a significant reinvestment and the westward drive all the way, to what we know today, which is close to University Drive. But it took years to do it. The 1950s, 1960s, Hollywood Hills, Memorial Hospital gets built in the 1950s. The community reinvested and actually approved a bond to build the hospital for the community back then. The 60s saw a lot of residential development. In the 70s, by 1975, the city's 50th anniversary, the city had over 125,000 residents. Okay, so it went from really 50,000 residents in about the 50s to 125,000 by like the late 1970s. And so it had a really, really aggressive boom time. All of the neighborhoods that you see from east to west were basically built during that period. We annexed what was called West Hollywood, unincorporated Broward County in the 1980s, and the city saw its Boulevard Heights and Driftwood. So we basically had grown to our city limits during those times. To just reflect, in 1975, we were at 125,000 residents. Fast forward 50 years, and we've only grown about 20% to about 155,000 residents today. So, obviously the city got built out, and it was basically incremental, infill growth over those, over the 50 years, really, that were before us. We see, of course, some of that growth continue as we look to create downtown Hollywood into a vibrant urban center for the city. That's our plan. The city had adopted a master plan about 20-some years ago on what downtown Hollywood should be to serve us as a recreational, as a cultural, as a city center. And so I hope you're proud of the investments that we've made collectively to bring downtown Hollywood to where it is today. Cleaner, safer, celebrating, inspired by its past, but also looking toward the future and serving the needs of a city that, should thrive in a way where we can grow. The goal in all of Florida and really around the world is to grow sustainably. And what sustainable growth usually means is creating walkable cities, more walkable cities, bringing the services that we all would need every day or want to go to, ideally in walking distance, and have that opportunity to create community. People see each other on the road, walk across, live a healthy life, and not need the car to go everywhere. Of course, that's not possible in the layout of all of Hollywood because we have, neighborhoods that, span vast, miles of land, 30 square miles in total. But where we can do it, and the appropriate place is downtown Hollywood. That's why you've seen the growth centered there. And we have thousands of residents that are going to be living there, hopefully, walking outside, enjoying the restaurants, and creating that community, multi-generational, multicultural, that is Hollywood today. And so that's been a real focus of the city for the past almost 30 years through the Hollywood Downtown CRA, which was Broward County and the City of Hollywood's agreement to invest all of the property tax dollars that are generated in downtown Hollywood back into downtown Hollywood. We're in basically the final year of that 30-year period of reinvestment of the county and the city, focusing for the cleanup of back then, which was a slum and blighted area of the city. Downtown was really not a place where there were many businesses and pretty unsafe place in the late 1970s and 80s. And so it took a long time to get to where it is today. We know our job is not done. And so what we've done with the county is extend the term of that 30 years, no longer with the county tax dollars or the city tax dollars that are restricted to the downtown, but for the next 13 years or 14 years, we have until 2040, I want to say, into the 2040s that we could extend the downtown CRA, but without the funding mechanism of committed tax dollars. For the 5 years beginning 2025 through 2030 roughly, we will have $3 million a year contributed by Broward County for those 5 years. So, $15 million that'll be invested in CRA activities. And so the county recognized, and through an agreement we did with them in 2018, that we could invest beach CRA dollars elsewhere in the city. You all might know we have the Neighborhood Pride program that I'm sure you've heard about. That allows what were previously restricted beach CRA dollars, county dollars, to be invested into the low to moderate income neighborhoods of the city. About 40% of Hollywood qualifies for that designation based on the income levels of people. And so when you have programs for like roofs and windows and driveways and fences, that's the majority of the dollars for those programs are through the interlocal agreement with Broward County that we reached with the Hollywood Beach CRA. So if you haven't taken advantage of it, I hope that you try to. There is a portal now where you can submit everything online and be approved. An inspector comes in, sees what your house needs. You can qualify for up to $40,000 worth of improvements. And we're looking to really accelerate the opportunity for people to take advantage of those programs so that we can invest those dollars where they are designated. Otherwise, they would have been restricted to strictly the beach. The beach CRA that I mentioned, that taxing district, ends in 2027. And so what you saw for the past 30 years and what we're finishing up is that reinvestment in what were blighted areas of the city, the beach and the downtown. The nice thing for the city is those dollars that were previously restricted to the downtown and the beach will now be repatriated to the general fund of the city. And so that'll be good for all the things that we need to fund for all of Hollywood. But with that interlocal agreement that we struck with the county in 2018, we came up really ahead, basically, bringing to Hollywood all of the excess dollars that would be, even if the beach CRA wasn't even there. And so we really did a good thing. But we continue to work. All of that work over the course of the 100 years, we know that it's always the city's responsibility to address the issues of today, but also plan for the city's future. And so we're doing all of that, facing directly what the issues are that are affecting people's lives today. That could, of course, be affordable housing, and affordability in Florida in general is a topmost issue that now I'm happy to say that the city government is really cognizant of. And anytime we spend money or mention the word taxes, we all recognize very well that taxes are very high for everyone, and the cost of living, and the city government needs to do what it needs to do as well to help control people's cost of living. And so you saw for the first time in 15 years, the city of Hollywood last year, we actually, in a very slight way, I won't exaggerate it, but we were able to reduce the city's total millage rate, operating millage rate, by a slight hair. And hopefully that, because we've been able to grow the city's tax base. 8 years ago, when I came into office, the city's tax base was at $13.2 billion in total. Fast forward 8 years, a relatively short amount of time. Today, the tax base is at over $25 billion. So we practically doubled our tax base, and we'll get to today. Actually, one of Patty's issues was to talk about property taxes. Just realize that property taxes and the tax base that we rely on as a city funds about 46% of the city's general fund. We jumped from, I want to say, about 80 some odd million dollars coming into the city to run its operation in 2016 from property taxes to today, practically like $150 million. So a lot better, and that's why you're seeing us better equip all of our departments, from fire, police, code, parks, you name it. You see a lot more happening in the city, more roads being repaired, more sidewalks being repaired, parks having better maintenance of them. Across the board, obviously, just like a household, if you have more dollars coming in, you can reinvest in fixing that old house. We're investing in fixing that old city. And the needs are big, not just for affordability and bringing in. We're actually a city that is, I think, a standout in how we've taken a proactive step to bring in housing for our workforce, and that is affordable. Some of the apartments that you see downtown on Dixie and on US 1, and now for the first time ever, people living on State Road 7. These are projects that we supported, the county and the state, that can provide homes for people that are in our workforce, to have a rent-restricted house, apartment that they can live in. I think Florida, I just saw a report that is suffering, and Texas, are suffering more net migration outward and some of our counties, including Broward, we're seeing actual people leaving South Florida because of the cost of living. So we're doing what we can. The state is doing what it can to help, offer opportunities for people to live affordably. Of course, the market controls market prices, and we, of course, can't do anything about that. But what we can do, we ought to do, and I want you to know that your City of Hollywood City Commission, and I see Commissioner Hernandez is here, we're doing all that we can to supplement the housing stock and create those opportunities. Broward County and the city is not projected to grow by leaps and bounds because we're all built out just like we were, I mentioned to you in 1975. But for Hollywood, we're looking at just under 1% growth every year for the next 10 years. And that's consistent with the past 10 years as well. Even with the apartments that you see downtown, you might say, wow, the city's growing. But in comparison and ratio to the 150,000 people living in the entire city, those apartments, even with all those apartments, we're still growing at a clip of less than 1% per year. So I want you to have confidence that we're growing sustainably for our infrastructure. Of course, sometimes people feel the squeeze with traffic, but we're working with Broward County. They take the lead on doing all that we can to alleviate traffic. Of course, unless people leave their car at home and take public transit, cars are going to be on the road. That's all of us included, probably every day. But we are introducing, we, the county, we, the city, we, the state, are pushing for more mass transit. And the real opportunity for people living in North Central is we have plans, of course, and we were approved for, and will be the first train station that'll serve the cities going all the way up north and south across Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. We're going to have the train station right at University Station, which is the housing and Barry University project that is going to soon have its grand opening right off of Polk Street and Dixie Highway. My hope is that the train station could start service, according to what the county is projecting, in 2028. That's a short 3 years from now. One of the things I'm hearing most recently is if we can get the train cars timely, that might be something that is potentially a risk because of supply chain and different demands on train car supply. But I want you to know we're forward thinking when it comes to transportation. We're mindful of that. We always alert the county onto the issues that we're experiencing here in Hollywood so they can time the signals, the traffic lights best they can. They can offer additional modes of mobility, and something is happening outside. But I just want you to know that we're working on that. And so from affordable housing to transportation and mobility, of course, stormwater management is a key issue. You all know we've had record storm and rainfall over the past handful of years. And so we're ever mindful of needing to improve the city's infrastructure. A lot of the city's neighborhoods are not built with any underground stormwater infrastructure. There's no pipe underground to take the water to any location. The pipe doesn't exist. And so we actually, a few years ago, spent $2 million of our collective dollars to engineer the entire city on what the stormwater improvements need to be in order to handle, more intense and more frequent rainfall in a better way. And so we now have that stormwater management plan, the master plan, and again, it charts out for every neighborhood, including North Central, what installation of additional stormwater infrastructure we need to make the neighborhoods drain quicker in the face of these severe storms that we've seen. Yes.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
With all the development, right, in the downtown around Arts Park and the development that are happening on these side local residential streets, because there is no stormwater infrastructure currently, what is the responsibility of these developers to make sure that this concrete jungle that is occurring, I'm not against it, I'm just like, what is the plan if we don't have the infrastructure for the drainage and these buildings are going up?
So that's a great question. She asked, well, what is the impact of development on drainage? And of course, the development is happening in the downtown, right? The neighborhoods that are flooding have been developed in the same way since the 1960s. So the development of the downtown is not impacting how your street drains, west of 26th Avenue, for example. But you should know that every development, whether it is a townhome project in the neighborhood where the mixed use areas are, or an apartment building, our development requirements, and these are county requirements as well for surface water management, require that every property retain its rainfall in its system. So what you're seeing is a lot more stringent requirements for these properties to have pretty massive underground drainage systems before they can be approved. And they also contribute a lot of impact fees when they pay for their impact fees and for their building permits. Mm-hmm. And so they contribute to our ability to fix other parts of the city and not only need to pay for their own selves and maintaining and collecting their own water. So they're actually a positive thing, a bonus. Now realize that development, we talk about downtown, it's happening in where there's already built areas. And so if you're tearing down something old and building something new, you're not really displacing any property that was previously a retention area. It's not that, And just know that there's a lot of regulation, and the standards in Broward County and in Hollywood are only going up and making it pretty expensive and difficult to do. But it's possible to do, and so we want what's possible. We have a green building ordinance that requires energy efficiency and different things. So we're looking to lead the city into appropriate and beneficial redevelopment to renew some of the older areas and have that investment come in. People want. It's interesting because people sometimes say, "Oh, who's going to live in all those apartments?" But people are moving in, and there are some people that are moving in from Miami-Dade and from from different areas that are new to the city that are moving into the new apartments. But some people who otherwise wouldn't have a choice but to rent, in a duplex with a landlord that doesn't care or visit the property and maintain the property pretty well. Those same people now have opportunities to live in new apartments, and it's interesting because before they didn't have an opportunity to live in a newer product with a more better managed landlord, and they only had the older areas to live in. And so I'm happy that I think it's a good thing because it's causing some of the landlords that are the older absentee landlords to realize they need to compete more to refresh their properties. And so that's an issue for Hollywood in the decades to come. We always have to refresh things. During the course of those 100 years, Hollywood also saw it lose, residents, lose businesses to the newer cities that were to our west. One of the things I reflected on during the State of the City was, remember the Hollywood Fashion Center and even the Hollywood Mall back in the 1970s. They were the thing. They were the first air-conditioned mall, one of the first in the Hollywood Mall, and then the Hollywood Fashion Center came along, and then Pembroke Pines, grew really quickly. The Pembroke Lakes Mall got built, and the Hollywood Fashion Center quickly declined, stood shuttered and abandoned for 20 years on State Road 7 and Hollywood Boulevard until Super Walmart came in. And so just realize there's periods of decline if we don't keep up and keep our city fresh and cater to the modern tastes and lifestyle needs of people, because people have choices. They don't have to live in Hollywood. They don't have to come to Hollywood. And we want them to, because when you put up your house for sale, you want someone to be interested in the city that you're looking to sell your investment in. And so we understand our responsibility to have a city that serves the people who live here today in a way that's, again, healthy, in a way that's safe, in a way that provides for a good life. And it's not about attracting so much the new residents as much as it's for us. Everything we do is to have a city that better serves us. And that's the job of our fire department, to keep everybody safe when you have a 911 call, police department, code. I mean, we're all running our own, 60,000+ unit city. We're property managers in a way, but we're serving the people who live here. And that's the role of myself as mayor, our elected officials, to be the voice of that, to help think about the future, to help make sure we're taking care of the needs today, to hear from you. And so that's a good segue to talking about what Patty wanted in the North Central update. Let me run through that. So someone already asked about it. So garbage and recycling, what's going on with Waste Pro? You all know that over the past years, we're in a 10-year contract with Waste Pro that expires in 2029. And so we're in a contract, and we rely on the fact that vendor provides a good service. We can't dwell on the city's decision years before to outsource garbage collection and to, have good nostalgia about the way in which the city garbage employees used to actually sweep the streets and the alleys. I remember seeing that as a kid growing up. I wish we could still have that, but it is what it is. And so with Waste Pro, we have this agreement, and we have a fine mechanism as well. If they leave the cans, toppled over, and they bust everything up, or they skip blocks, or they miss a house. Anytime that there are certain violations that can occur under an agreement. And actually, Commissioner Hernandez was mentioning to me that a resident had spoken to him about it and reminded the resident that last year Waste Pro, I think, had to pay about $1 million worth of fines. And so there is a consequence to to inadequate service, but we went even farther because we didn't really care so much about, gee whiz, we have bad service and we're fining you. Is that still okay? No, we want good service. We don't care about the fines. We want good service. And so the city commission had enough. You guys had enough. And we put Waste Pro on notice that if they don't shape up, the city manager sent them a strong letter saying, we're going to consider terminating this agreement. That was, the predicament they were facing. And so I will say that they definitely shaped up a significant amount, enough so that I could say we're not looking at termination right now as we are, because the service has gotten better, and it's not as if we have a ton of options to flip a switch and get another company to tomorrow start serving the city in a way that doesn't cause a calamity. And so if we make it through 2029, during that time there will be a new bidding process. We're considering the splitting of the city garbage services to be serviced by different vendors. One of the reasons why I think we didn't get any competitive bids when Waste Pro was an applicant was it was for the whole city, and for some reason, I think, one company ends up bidding for one city and one company ends up bidding for another city. And so there's not much competition. But if you split the city into, say, 4 quadrants or 2 quadrants, then a lot of the smaller haulers have enough trucks and enough manpower, and they're a good, closely held small operation to be able to provide good service to smaller parts of the city. And so whether or not the city takes that direction or not, I don't know. But we are, again, I want you to know we're mindful about the quality of service. Some of the specific question is, again, what's being considered for the best practice after the end of Waste Pro's contract? We're going to be bidding out to the future haulers unless the City Commission finds a way to bring that service back in-house. I can't predict things, but we'll see. As far as resuming the separation of recycling items, we did just have a hiccup with our waste disposal companies and with regards to recycling. There was a period of time where recycling and your usual household waste was going to the same dump. The recycling market, disappeared. China is no longer buying our recycling, our being the United States. And part of the reason we hear and understand is that residents don't understand or don't do a good job of separating clean recyclable materials, like basically clean cardboard boxes, say, from, say, pizza boxes and other contaminated items. And so therefore our, the cleanliness rate of the recycling, items were such that, it wasn't going to be, possible for the recyclers to sort it. And long story short, we used to get paid for recycling every ton. Now it's a cost to the city. And so obviously though, we're very environmentally minded in Broward County and we want recycling to be recycled. And so the county, and cities across Broward County embarked on an effort now to create potentially a solid waste authority that would manage a recycling center so that we could kind of be responsible for our own destiny as a county for how we recycle and dispose of waste. And so there's a group of city members of different cities in Broward County and the county have formed this exploratory committee of this waste authority. And they're going to be coming up with their recommendations later in the year. In the meantime, Miami-Dade County had an incinerator fire. I might be going too long on this. Is this interesting for you guys? It's all right. They had an incinerator fire, and so the question is, where can they build their incinerator? But now, in a more politically correct way, we don't call it incinerators because that sounds bad. We call it waste to energy, because a portion of that waste can be burned and generate enough heat to generate energy to a certain amount of kilowatts. And so, but that's another form of recycling, right? And at least you're doing something with the waste and not just landfilling it. The county just actually approved the expansion of one of the landfills, Mount Trashmore, along the turnpike over by Coconut Creek. They hate it, but it's there. So the county said, hey, we have no choice. Yes, we'll allow it to go up a certain number of feet additional and grow out a little bit. But the waste that's going to now be targeted for the landfill is just like dry waste that's not going to create the methane gas, not really like the household, food waste that creates a lot of gases. And so, I would say landfills are these days managed better and more clean, and waste is separated, and we're doing our best both on the private sector and of course the public sector to have better waste disposal practices in the county. You might have heard there was an idea, and the City Commission actually explored the idea of allowing advertising on the tops of garbage bins. It would have generated dollars for the city. Some people thought that would be a good way to communicate, services that could be available for people, and also for the city to kind of let residents know some, rules of the road on those advertising bins. But we kind of kicked that back, said, hey, wait a second, maybe not the best idea. You want to, even though I love advertising, that's not really a way to do it. Didn't sound too practical to me after a second look. And so information I have here is that the vendor that we were in a contract with but said hold your horses decided to close their business and not continue that, the business types. And so no advertising on garbage bins coming up. You guys happy about that? Don't care. All right. Listen, some people said ew, and some people said, didn't care. So Of course, in North Central here, some of the issues are you see untimely disposal of, and people dump, sofas and couches and mattresses and furniture. I hate seeing it. I see it most along Fillmore Street, along Polk Street. And so I just want you to know that code and the police department, when needed, are keeping a much closer eye on that, as well Public Works. Our direction to those departments as a city commission is pick it up. If you can find out who dumped it and cite them, great. But we don't want to see it sprayed orange and left there for 2 weeks because that's not the goal. The goal is to get it off the street. I think we need some better surveillance of the places that are most frequently, subject to the dumping. We need a better way to work with our landlords because a lot of the dumping is, happens at the end of the month when people are evicted or otherwise leave their rentals and they're leaving, the furniture behind right on the curb. And so our landlords need to know that's not permissible. And I think we need to do a better job as a city. We talked about as a city commission to let people know when the hard junk pickup days are so they can dispose of it, timely. We talked about, text messages, being sent to everyone in the neighborhood to let you know, to outdoor signs, to just ways in which we want people to know when it is appropriate and when it's not. And of course, together with enforcement, have a cleaner neighborhood. And so I want you to know we're very mindful of that. Let's move on to property taxes. You might have heard in the news that property taxes, that the state legislators and the governor are bemoaning the idea that we have property taxes in Florida. No one likes to pay any tax, neither do I. But just realize, remember before in the beginning we talked, half of our city's operational budget comes from property taxes. And our property taxes in Hollywood are about 1/3 of your property tax bill. A third to the city, roughly a third to the county, a third to the school board. And then there's a sliver that goes to Memorial Hospital and the hospital district, which does an amazing job. It charges way less, practically nothing compared to the North Broward Hospital District. Children's Services Council funds it a little bit from property taxes. But again, city, county, and school district are really what we pay, those three big buckets for property taxes. There are some bills in the Florida legislature right now to increase the homestead exemption to $100,000, create additional exemptions. Some bills are talking about, how is a home valued and whether or not, the most recent purchase price should be the revised homestead property assessed value. Some bills are looking to restrict city revenue growth by, no matter if your tax base grows and you're attracting investment, and that the benefit of that is you have additional people paying in to help pay for the public services. Like we talked about before, some bills are looking to, despite your growth, which could be, let's just say, 5% of extra dollars if you were to tax all of the newly assessed property as well, capping it at 2% over the previous year. And so we don't know where any of these bills are going to land in the Florida legislature. Just know that the idea of eliminating property taxes can't even be a subject for discussion until the legislature figures out how are they going to replace that revenue for the cities to run. We're talking about public services, police and fire. And so I think for right now, it's really just, let's just call it the beginning of a discussion. If it goes anywhere, I don't know. But they have to study this. What the major and other big category where you can fund city governments and just bring a lot of revenue to the public purse that isn't property taxes is sales tax. And so the one benefit of sales tax, at least how it was pitched when we all approved the extra penny in sales tax in Broward County to fund all the transportation improvements that the county is bringing on for the next 20 plus years, that extra penny, they were saying that the study showed that visitors to our county pay about 30% of sales tax. So meantime, all of us homeowners and renters ultimately pay 100% of property tax. And so could there be, a benefit to increasing sales tax and reducing property tax, considering that visitors pay 30% of the sales tax? Yes. But we'll see. We'll see how it rolls. I don't spend too much time, studying the economics and impacts of that because until something really is, a material discussion, a lot of it could be political and just not something that we spend our time on. There's no risk to the system right now. There's no risk to how we're funding the system, any imminent issue. You're not going to have a party because we're still going to pay property taxes this year. But just know that it's a discussion that's happening. Again, you all know that property taxes fund everything from our police, firefighters, public safety, cleaning up the city, playgrounds, community centers, code enforcement, most of all of it. So on to traffic safety. The question is about right across the street here on Johnson Street, there is a business called Rapid Recovery that I guess Patty noted oftentimes parks cars in the parking lot here of Dowdy Community Center and Dowdy Field, or they have their trucks unloading cars right here in the turn lane, and they cause some unsafe conditions. People can't turn out. 33 citations issued since January of 2025, past few months. Fines and code enforcement action continuing, police when necessary, and just realize we're very mindful of it, and the business there is being fined for what they're doing, and actually potentially I have it here, a towing operation is going to happen. Any car of theirs that's just parked here at the park is going to be towed, and so we're going to be pretty forceful with that.
Aren't they a towing company?
I guess Rapid Recovery sounds like a repossession company.
Yeah.
But they'll have their cars towed, and so go explain that, right?
They'll tow their own people?
They
Yeah.
also have a fire hydrant in that corner that they hit when I used to work for Underground.
With the semis?
They keep hitting when they're unloading the trucks, they keep hitting the hydrants and knocking the two posts that are supposed to block for the hydrant.
Well, I will tell you, Commissioner Hernandez has been pretty on the ground and hands-on since he was re-elected to serve this district. And I know just him hearing this, he's probably going to knock on the door and have a conversation with the business owner. I do it as well, but I know Peter, you might even know who the person is. And so I know that you're in good hands. Do you want to speak about it, Peter?
Full disclosure, that used to be my property. And the gentleman bought it from me, and it was a decision that was made by the director of zoning at that time, and they said that they would be allowed. Normally, you do not allow tow truck companies in this neighborhood for that same reason, but that decision was made at a different level where I wasn't
Years
involved,
ago, right?
and I was not a commissioner at the time. And I have spoken to him several times regarding his operation, and his operation was supposed to be inside their premises. Having said that, there are laws for delivery equipment.
Right, you get 15 minutes to unload.
15 minutes to load and unload. But if you see anything or hear anything like
what
that
I meant
regarding
when I was
fire
working-
hydrants, that's a public safety issue. Please bring it to my
Well, I'm
attention.
not saying, I'm just saying that I remember when I used to work for the city, they were constantly hitting that, and we were constantly going out repairing it and telling them, you're hitting a fire hydrant. And
Just know that code and police are all over it, but thank you for letting us know about the fire hydrant. We're going to continue enforcement with that. Look, and some of this, coexistence between businesses and residents and roadways is something that's always been. Here, this part of North Central does have an industrial part of it, right, along the Dixie corridor. It's right next door to where the residential begins, and that's how it was organized. And so we always have to have the best, harmony in between the two uses, the best we can. It'd be perfect if they were across the street and separate, always, but sometimes it's adjacent, and that can create some conflict. But we want businesses to be respectful, and then homeowners also be understanding that, hey, the business is there. And so, I think I used to roller skate there. We used to be a roller skating rink, right?
Right next to it.
Yeah.
There used to be-
Talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. I remember my dad used to take us as kids. We used to hold on to like the exit door and like just skate in place. Let's talk about Dixie Highway. You might know that part of the general obligation bond of 2019 was to fund $2 million to bring landscaping and beautification that never was to the railroad area, and to screen the railroad tracks from and create a nicer landscape with trees and bushes and what have you. But since we approved that and we kind of held back, and I'll tell you why, Brightline became a thing. And Brightline received a $25 million SAFER grant from the federal government to improve safety along the rail corridor. We all know why. Some of the safety improvements were in the grant were to install a fence in certain segments of the railroad. I don't think it's the whole way through, but we want that fence to be screened and our landscaping to have the best results. So we held back on our landscaping until we knew 100% where their fence was going and working together with them so we can have a fenced and more beautifully landscaped railroad corridor. So look out for that. From what I understand, they're in the process of design for the grant agreement, and the Hollywood segment is expected to be completed sometime in 2026. So once they put in their fence, we'll follow right through with the landscaping and have the safest, best looking railroad that we can have. One thing that I want you to know, public art is something that we all appreciate here in Hollywood. Of course, the Center for Arts in Hollywood is the downtown with the Art and Culture Center and the Arts Park and the cultural opportunities that we have in downtown Hollywood. And the Arts Park, recently we participated in a program called Ignite Broward. I hope you had a chance to go. There was a big light festival, art and light festival at the Arts Park. How many of you went to see Ignite? All right, good, that's a decent number. One of the pieces that you see right at the center of the park, which is still there, I think, until today, is the Aeonium sculpture. It's a beautiful art piece of a woman with these succulent plants coming out of like the sculpture of the woman. And it's meant to express like resilience and beauty all at the same time, and that resiliency can be beautiful. So I think that art really inspired us. But way before that festival that we participated in with Broward County came in, and that piece came in, we talked about sprucing up the city with more sculptures, and the Dixie Highway corridor was one of those areas where we felt there could be sculptures. You know, as you drive through downtown, imagine that you have some nice art sculptures mixed in with the trees and the landscaping along the rail corridor to have a more pleasing and enjoyable environment. We also wish for the same thing around the Arts Park. We have Sister Cities, and Commissioner Hernandez is on the Sister Cities, helps to lead the Sister Cities Advisory Committee, and did in years past work with Sister Cities. We wanted our Sister Cities, about 9 or 10 of them now, to have an opportunity to donate a beautiful sculpture that would reflect their culture, not an image of any person because that could be controversial, but imagine a piece of art that is from the Romanian Sister City or the Israeli Sister City or the Colombian or the Uruguayan Sister City, you name it. We have many of them. What, Connie? Argentinian. I think we have from Argentina too. Romanian, yeah, Eugene's Romanian. So actually they were the first that actually prompted this. They came to us and said, can we donate a piece of art? And so we actually had, design what could be pedestals around, say, every 200 feet around the Arts Park, and have just sculptures there. So one of the things I wish for Hollywood and for all of us is that we have more and more sculptures in the city, that we become Sculpture City in Broward County. It's very pleasing, it's very enriching. Art inspires like not many things can. And so just if you know of artists, let us know. We are talking with Daniel Popper, who created the art piece that is in the center of the Arts Park now, on an opportunity to retain the piece, keep it there for the year, and then maybe the thought is that every year with Ignite, the Light Festival coming to downtown Hollywood every year, we could introduce and replace that sculpture with a new piece for a couple of years, and then maybe expand to different artists and do different things like that. Yes?
My question regarding the fence that Brightline is doing and the landscaping, is there any discussion or idea of, since there's going to be a fence to hopefully prevent pedestrians from doing what they do or idiots driving across the tracks, but could it kind of be like the underline where you have a path, so it's a walking path with this fence, or is Brightline against it because they're trying to avoid people from being anywhere near the train?
Yeah, I think you answered your own question. That sounds beautiful because it's like there's like right of way and there's space, right?
Right.
And so
and biking.
FEC right away.
And we also don't own it. Sherry's right. It's owned by a private corporation.
I see.
And so they wouldn't want just a pedestrian sidewalk there.
I see.
If it was there, they would charge us a lot of money for it. And they'd probably want it for their train service, right? And also from a safety issue, it's also that they just wouldn't do it. But our county commissioner, who is now county mayor, Beam Fur, is helping to lead an endeavor to, in some areas of Dixie Highway where there's 3 lanes and sometimes 4 lanes, I believe, in the south. The thought is do we need all those lanes? And what if one of those lanes was a protected bike lane, and that can provide connectivity to the train station and help people be able to travel on bicycle to the train, not need the car, in a way that's safe. We all know that even though the Florida Department of Transportation and we all make an effort with the federally funded NPO to bring in bike lanes along the streets without protection, you don't see too many bicyclists there. I think partly because how dangerous it is to ride, right? I don't ride it myself, to be honest with you. I still stay on the sidewalk when I ride. Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, you too? Yeah. So we are clamoring for where can we build safer, separated, protected bike lanes. And so the county mayor, Beam Fur, is looking at Dixie Highway. They're studying that, and we'll see where that ends up. Someone had their hand up?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, there was an engineering issue at the Garfield, I think there should be a stoplight there.
Yep.
Because of in the right of way, vision is obscured.
That big
when you're
shed?
going from east to west.
Yep.
And,
Yeah, so the railroad crossing at Garfield and Dixie is definitely seen its share of accidents. It's I think the only crossing that doesn't have a light along the Dixie corridor. So actually, you bring up a timely topic because the MPO, which is the federally funded arm for transportation in Broward County, is together with the county and the city now studying how we can, for the next year, studying how we can make that intersection safer. The obvious things are FEC had put their storage shed, that big aluminum shed, on the west side, and that's kind of obstructs and creates a line of sight problem. And so we'll see where we end up with studying that. Engineers are going to be looking at how to make it safer, all the way to the potential of closure. The problem is that if you close that intersection, there are a significant number of cars that use it every day, and presumably most of those cars would use Johnson Street, and especially with the avant-garde school, with the parents coming from the north and using Garfield to do a quick loop. I asked them to count it because we needed to understand the impact. I think it was hundreds of cars in that 1 hour period of drop off in the morning that were using that intersection to do their U-turn to go into the carpool line. If all of those cars were suddenly sent to Johnson Street to make that U-turn or spill into the neighborhood, you'd have pretty significant congestion or impacts elsewhere. So I think ideally we keep Garfield Street open, but make it safer. If it needs a traffic signal, I think then God bless America, let's build a traffic signal. But if we close roadways in Hollywood, we're the ones losing out because we lose circulation. Even though for the county or for the state, it might be a simple, just close it. Well, if you close it and create impacts elsewhere, we're the ones who suffer. So closing it is an easy out, and we want to study every possible way to make it safe without losing circulation. So let's just move ahead a few more items. Gateway and neighborhood monument signs, as you might know, as part of the bond. We wanted to better identify and update the identification of our neighborhoods, create a sense of pride in them through good gateway signage and neighborhood signs. In North Central, there will be 6 new signs. Those signs that you see now that say Hollywood Palms are going to be replaced with the new look of what will be a consistent citywide look for signage in all the neighborhoods, all 20 plus, including gateway signs, say on the Boulevard and Sheridan Street along I-95. There'll also be some wayfinding signage downtown, so look for that. The update on when that could be, I would say, let's be realistic, 2026. The city, I admit, has been a little slow in that procurement process, but they're under construction now. The signs are. Let's talk about Sunset Park, everybody. And what I'll do is I'll talk first about the funding and the conversion of the Sunset property to a park, and then I'll talk about some questions that Patty had. She wanted me to answer questions about drainage with the current condition. But as you might know, one of the most exciting things with the general obligation bond was to purchase the 45-acre Sunset, formerly Sunset Golf property on I-95 and Johnson Street. You all know it. And so we purchased the property, and it's a purchase that we all knew would be an investment for the city's future for many years ahead. We knew that we couldn't necessarily build the park the next day, but it was an investment it was the largest green space purchase in the city's, I think, history, since at least we got possession of the Orangebrook Golf Course, and the city founder built the Hollywood Beach Golf Course, which is undergoing a complete renewal now under the bond as well. So we purchased Sunset, and you might have heard, we succeeded in winning a grant by the National Park Service called the Outdoor Recreation Legacy Partnership Grant. We submitted a grant request. It was competitive. Thankfully, we were awarded a $7.5 million matching grant, meaning the city puts in $7.5 million from our own dollars, and then the state awards through these federal dollars their own 7.5. So we have $15 million to work with, presumably. I say presumably because we don't have the money in hand yet, to begin the construction of the park. We also applied for other land and water conservation grants, and we have a design that was conducted. You might remember years ago, we had some engineers and designers come to this Civic Association and others and get feedback on what kind of amenities and features we wanted for this park. A lot of the park, one of the big, drivers of the design was stormwater retention. And so you're going to see bodies of water there. You're going to see, meandering paths, bike paths,
a lot of green open space, what's called a rookery for birds, and just good natural features, a playground, a small community center with parking, but not too many active sports. This neighborhood, and my friend Karen Caputo back there was adamant that she wanted it to be a passive park, people to come and be able to relax, and not, have another sports field, because we have Dowdy, we have Boggs, we have Stan Goldman, and they wanted this one to contribute in a different way to the neighborhood. And so we have a beautiful plan. We have some funding that's lined up. We're undergoing, the pursuit of those designs. We also did submit an application for $20 million with the U.S. EPA through what's called the Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights, but we were denied that grant. It was kind of, struck with some of the eliminations that you're hearing about. Yes?
So when is it going to begin construction?
I wish I had a crystal ball for you. Peter, unless you know more than me, maybe. But I'll tell you, so we're working on securing the dollars with the $7.5 million from the state. My hope is in the next couple of years, we'll be able to start moving dirt, assuming we are able to, get those dollars. So yeah, it's going to take time, but it's for our kids, it's for our grandkids, it's forever. And it all plays into what I talked about in the beginning, guys, which is what can we afford to do with the dollars we have coming in. So the more financially successful the city is in its growth and its property values, which brings in dollars in the biggest way that a city can fund itself, we can do more. If we have more, we can do more. And so, but I will tell you, there is some leftover money in the general obligation bond fund, specifically in the parks category, because the Orange Brook Golf Course reconstruction, which was a $24.5 million segment of the bond dollars from the parks section, we, instead of funding it through the public dollars from the bond, we struck a public-private partnership where a private development firm is going to redo our golf course at Orange Brook into the championship. Reese Jones is like the biggest name in golf design. Terry is nodding because he's excited about it as a golfer. But we're going to have a world-class golf course there, built without cost to the city. And the trade-off for us to get that $40 million golf course now and amenities was to allow that private entity to build 3 residential apartment buildings on Pembroke Road and I-95, and build a golf resort hotel that'll make the golf course more successful. So they get their benefit, we get our benefit, and it's going to be, if everything pans out correctly, a big win-win, which leaves over dollars that we can hopefully, in the near future, to answer your question, accelerate the construction of Sunset through designating those leftover dollars, roughly about $10 million, I want to say, to Sunset. For me, that's a priority, because it is a promise and an expectation of the bond. And even though we can, I think, invest it legally in any parks in the city, I think we ought to, of course, fund what people envisioned and wanted, which was to turn Sunset into a park. So I'm confident we have the dollars to get going. And even if we can't do all 45 acres at once, if we do half, it's still a huge 20-acre park. DOT, through their I-95 expansion plans, needs some water retention area. We might be able to get some dollars in some of the earthwork for DOT to, contour some retention area for them as well on the west side of the park. So a few moving parts, but just know that we all want to see it happen. Yes, and quickly.
The Fed, with the Fed cutting a lot of money, is this all guaranteed money, or do we already have it, or can they take it away or freeze it?
So the $7.5 million from the National Parks Fund. While the city has been approved for the grant, the agreement has not been signed between the city and the Park Service just yet. So until we have it signed, that's why I'm saying it's a little bit of an unknown, but just realize we're fully in, the grant agreement is there. I hope it's going to get executed. It's not going to be part of the programs that are getting slashed from the federal dollars. I hope not. I don't think so, because of how far along it is. But again, even if we don't get those dollars, we're still going to have city dollars through the bond, and my intention and my desire is to have that, have that start. And again, even if we can't build the whole thing, we start somewhere.
Did you say hotels were being built on 95 in Pembroke? To accommodate apartment buildings.
Yeah, 750 apartments with three towers right across. West of I-95.
Okay.
And that's a pretty, sort of like I guess you could say, empty section of Pembroke Road. And so it'll contribute, I think, to uplifting what Pembroke Road could be. And at the same time be on a main state road, so all the traffic goes right into the highway system, right into the state road system, looking over beautiful Pembroke Park in their industrial area. But no, I'm sure they're gonna point the apartments to have views of the golf course. It'll be beautiful. When you go 20 stories up and you look at the balconies outside some of these buildings downtown, I mean, from downtown, it looks like a green forest, and you can see the ocean, everything around you. It's beautiful, the sunsets, it's really nice. When you actually go there and look, and then you understand why people choose to live in, tall high rises, because there is a beauty to having the view, right? Without all the mosquitoes where we live. Just wait, they're coming. I said to myself, wow, we've had like a month and a half of no rain, like no mosquitoes, low humidity, and just yesterday morning, it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. So, I think our last topic for the day is septic to sewer conversion.
Yes, thank you.
So you might know, again, reflecting on how the city was originally built, besides having no stormwater system in a lot of areas, we also never had a sewer system connect all of the city, right? I want to say about 15,000 houses in Hollywood are still running individual septic tanks. And that's pretty surprising to the state legislators who think maybe that south of Lake Okeechobee there is no problem like there is north of Okeechobee with septic tanks. But we know septic tanks, even though mine has run fine for 20 some odd years in my house, it's not the most preferred way of disposing of wastewater. We prefer, it's better to have it taken by pipe to the city's water treatment plant or the wastewater plant and treated. And then we invested over $100 million over the past 10 years into building and digging what's called deep injection wells. It used to be, or it still is a little bit today. The wastewater will be treated and then sent through a pipe into the ocean, what's called the ocean outfall pipe. And so the state had mandated all cities to end that. And so that's ending in Hollywood. We have 4 deep injection wells. But the collection system, the sewer system, doesn't reach every door. So it's, again, a matter of what you can afford. And so the city commission years ago wanted to go full force with a pretty quick and accelerated plan to connect all the households because of the environmental benefit. And sometimes when you have your own septic tank and you need to fix the drain field because they're getting older or replace it, that's a $10,000 potential job that homeowners have to suffer. So having a sewer connectivity is better for the homeowner in that respect. But it does cause your water bill to go higher because now you're paying like a sewer fee and a sewer discharge cost, and probably practically doubling your water bill, everybody. So if you don't have a sewer connectivity, you're paying half than the people who do have roughly that are at a house that has sewer. So to answer your question, while we have a desire to connect the entire city, we don't have the funding to go on a wholesale, let's dig up the entire neighborhood and build a sewer system that never existed. So we are doing small projects where we can, like 100 houses here, 100 houses there, where there are opportunities and sufficient like lift station capacity to be able to build a sewer system and actually have it flow where it needs to flow to the wastewater plant. Because Memorial Hospital had relocated some of its sewer system to the main line on Taft Street rather than through a connection they had in Park East, the Utilities Department was able to designate 100 houses in Hollywood Hills that could be connected, and so that was constructed last year and is not yet connected to the sewer, but will be later in the year. Our next little spot for sewer connection is going to be in Boulevard Heights, where about 150 homes are designated to be the next project. I believe we qualified for a state grant to help us out with that. But just now, our state representative, Hillary Cassell, helped to lead and introduce new legislation in the state that would confirm our desire, because we were given legal advice years ago when the city commission wanted to go hard and go fast, is that we couldn't charge all of the 40,000 plus customers of the city, of the water customers, a 40,000 collective pool of people paying in still an additional amount, but a smaller amount to help fund the expansion of the sewer system. We were given legal advice that state law, through an old court ruling, you could only fund the new connections from the people who were being newly connected. And so that basically would blow out of the water any opportunity to fund the sewer expansion from at least that pocket, because it would be way too few people needed to pay way too much money, tens of millions of dollars, everybody, to do a neighborhood. And so that basically became, an impossibility. And so the legislation certainty in the interpretation of law. All that is to say that if you were wondering if you were going to get sewer in North Central, in the next couple of years, the answer is no. Look, if we have this new mechanism, okay, but once we identify the mechanism, and let's just say there's the stomach to bear the cost, we'll have to decide how that could be done, analyze that. We haven't really analyzed it yet because the funding hasn't been there, but we have to first design the systems. We also want to marry it up with the stormwater master plan implementation, so that if we're digging up North Central for stormwater, we're going to do sewer at the same time. So you're going to see a lot of these, jobs, being combined, because we want to be smart with, how we spend our dollars. If we're putting in a sewer pipe, we can put in a stormwater pipe at the same time. Costs a little more, but not the same as digging up the road all over again and having two different contractors at two different times, etc. So we do have a lot of infrastructure work to do, everybody. Significant. It's in the hundreds of millions of dollars. And, together with the stormwater master plan, which projects $2 billion worth of projects over 20 years, just realize there's massive work to do in the city, and so we all take that responsibility every year. We'll chip away at it. These are issues that we'll have to take care of, and we're going to do it. We want to do it for ourselves, to have a city that's safer, better. Again, operates in a way that's more cost efficient for people, and can live up to that dream of a city that can provide the contentment of a full life. Right, everybody? So I thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you all. Yes, sir.
Thank you. What do we have to do to get parking available for members of the Civic Association?
Right. Where?
Here.
Here? So, I think here I saw...
They don't have to go around the corner to the north parking lot and walk all the way around.
Yeah.
Okay.
So look,
Soccer could give a little... What would it take?
We'll have to talk to the Parks Department about that, but just realize the soccer is a beloved activity. I love seeing the kids play out there.
I realize soccer. We're paying...
Yeah, we all do.
Place.
Yep.
We're paying for them, but I know they pay fees, but no.
Look,
we're the residents. We should have parking for our meetings.
Yeah. So I agree, and we'll work on it. We'll work on it. I don't know if the soccer league here operates every night, but I don't know if it's every single night of every single week of the month. But maybe if the North Central Association could move its meeting to a day that there is no,
absolutely not.
Then anyway, or they can cancel the game. We'll figure it out. If they can move their schedule or us or whatever, I agree. There needs to be parking.
There's no discussion here.
It's an issue. Yes, sir.
I just have a quick question. I noticed that down Hollywood has a bunch of concrete blocks.
Second, guys. Hey, if you guys can quiet down in the back, please. Thanks.
I've noticed that down Hollywood in the Young Circle has concrete blocks everywhere. Okay. Kind of like, I think, security.
Yes. So if you might have noticed on the beach and also downtown, there are big, large, 4-foot long concrete blocks that are weigh about 3,000 pounds each, and they're blocking some of the sidewalks. After the ramming terrorist attack in New Orleans, our police chief, obviously, we all are very mindful of what the risks are in our public spaces in the city, and so he wanted to make sure we had instant, protection from those types of attacks, and had those temporary blockades laid where they are. The City Commission has discussed it, and we're already into the design and planning of more, appropriate ballers and security features that will stop cars from being able to access, heavily trafficked pedestrian areas and cafe areas without being an obstruction like they are now. So just another temporary. A few years ago, and this was after the Barcelona attacks in Europe many years ago, we knew that our beach broadwalk was a risk, everybody. And so we put in those big gate arms. Those are actually K-rated arms that are, you could, ram pretty with a truck, hit it. It's rated to, Army-based type level protection. But we also know that there's other areas of the beach where we want to make sure that prevent cars from coming in. Hopefully, we'll never have to worry about an intentional act. But on the beach, for example, and also downtown, there have been accidents or people not knowing where they are, and they drive, they put their car suddenly on a sidewalk or a curb.
Like the idiot who crashed.
The guy who crashed into the library is a whole other issue.
Yeah, you ever catch the guy? I mean,
I don't think he was caught because it wasn't the registered owner of the vehicle who was like 80-something years old who was sleeping when that happened. So it was, I believe it was a stolen car, and the person who lived through that crash, the cameras could see him running away, but I don't think he was enough information to know who it was. I don't have a recent update on that, but I didn't hear any arrest.
thank you.
All right. Any other questions, anyone?
Where do we, if we have a recommendation for a traffic light, like at 26 and Taft, I know it's spring break right now, so it's light.
Yeah.
But normally Monday through Friday, that intersection is really heavy with a lot of people coming to Beachside Montessori. You know, because they're not residents of the neighborhood.
Anybody want a traffic light at 26 and Taft, or you want to leave the four-way stop?
Four-way stop.
Four-way stop, hands up.
Four ways.
Okay.
Do you work?
Traffic light?
Are you all retired?
Yeah. So I was curious because I use Taft Street every day. I live right off of Taft and 35th, right by the Hollywood Hills Elementary School, block off of it. And I use that intersection every day to turn right to go to City Hall. And so, yes, it can get, backed up a little bit. It moves along. Sometimes traffic lights, if it's, 30 seconds of not moving, then you end up having sort of the same, and you have cars idling at all times. The four-way stop actually works pretty efficiently when it's not congested as well, because cars just stop, go, stop, go. If it was traffic lights 24/7, they'd be sitting there when, there's no one else around, and the stoplight, the stop sign just lets you go. So, pluses and minuses to everything. It was looked at. It was looked at, and the county determines, as Terry noted, the warrants for traffic signals. I'm not so sure that's the best result for us, even though what's there today may not be perfect. Yeah.
The plan for the sidewalks on Johnson Street to 32nd Court?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the gentleman's bringing up, Johnson Street. We have hopes and dreams of continuing the resurfacing of the road. We've done segments of that. We've put in a sidewalk along the Sunset property from 28th to I-95. We did receive funding for an MPO project from 22nd Avenue, I believe, up until, I want to say, into the lakes, into, I think, 17th Avenue and beyond. That's coming up ahead, as well as west of the C10 Canal. There's going to be a different project for lighting and sidewalk improvements and what have you. So I don't have the exact, top of my head knowledge of where those projects are. I'll let the association know. So for the next meeting, we'll have an update on like 3 different projects for Johnson Street that are funded from different sources, all the way east, all the way through North Central, and also west. But I will say there is still a segment that is principally in North Central from 28th Avenue up until 22nd that doesn't have a full plan yet. That's funded, but years ago there was a big plan by FDOT to possibly acquire some right-of-way and do double sidewalks on both sides. I think where it's going to end up is we're going to have a sidewalk probably on one side, and then use the existing right-of-way without taking anyone's property, because that would be a delay and a big expense. To have the roadway have better drainage, better lighting, resurfacing, and a new sidewalk where there isn't any.
No time frame on that.
Let me get it to you next month so I don't speak out of line. Yep. Yes, sir.
What's the story on Taft and 56th Avenue to the east? A whole bunch of clearing or something?
Yeah, Taft to 56th Avenue. Yeah, to the east. Yep. So between 40th Avenue and State Road 7. So DOT has aspirations, and the county does, that people will be able to ride their bike or walk to areas of the city that have a frequent bus service, for example. And that one of the biggest bus transit corridors in the city is State Road 7. So the funding that's paying for that project is state funding that's made to improve the connectivity in that quarter mile from those main corridors. So on Taft Street, what you're seeing is, instead of creating bike lanes on both sides and expanding the pavement, which would have really done away with all the people's driveways on the south side of the road, there's going to be one multi shared use path on the north side of Taft Street. That's what you're seeing being built right now, and so that's what's happening, is they're widening the sidewalk on the north side for better connectivity. Some of the benefit that we get because of the bicycle, and mobility goal of the project, because we get some drainage improvements to the area, and hopefully some lighting as well that the city will come in afterwards. But some trees that you're seeing have been, we really fought for the least number of trees to be affected from the project. But you're going to see better drainage and better network of mobility as part of the project, and of course we'll have to plant some replacement trees where we can. Some people say it's a bike path to nowhere. Josh, how many bicycles are really going, from the middle of Hollywood Hills to State Road 7? I agree. But sometimes, these projects that the state wants to have put in order to get the improvements done, sometimes, sometimes we have to say no. But we didn't say no early enough on this one to make it happen, everybody. But we were able to get DOT to re-engineer the project, to reduce impacts on the adjacent homeowners, and to save as many of the trees as possible. Some people wanted the trees removed that lived right there because they were making a mess in their backyards. But look, most of the heat was, hey, let's not remove any trees. And I want you to know that anytime you see these projects, in the city, that anytime we remove a tree, regulation and law requires us to replace, the missing tree and the lost canopy. So what you're seeing is thousands of trees having been planted in Hollywood in recent years, and thousands more that will be planted in years ahead. Unfortunately, it takes time for those trees, the new ones, to mature. So, but we'll keep planting trees. It's one of the things that I love, and everybody here loves trees. We all know their benefits. I don't need to go through them. But we want to preserve canopy. We want to add canopy. That's what we're doing. Sometimes, like in the project for the Hollywood Beach Golf Course, you have to remove a certain, number of trees and plant new ones. Sometimes there's invasive trees that need to be removed because if you have a project, they can't be left and ignored under state rules. And so we deal with all that, that big web of regulation. But just know your city loves trees. We're Tree City USA for 40 plus years. And we want, the more the merrier. The right tree, right place. Sometimes we see the impacts of the city planting the wrong tree in the wrong place. Like, in a small, narrow swale, they'll put an oak tree. And now the oak tree is bringing up the sidewalk, bringing up the road, causing trouble for structures that are nearby. And so we want to be smart with how we're doing it, and smarter than the past. I don't know that we're successful all the time, but we'll keep working on it. Yes?
I would like to know if there's a chance that you guys can start putting speed limit signs on streets that don't have any. I'm on 25th and Wilson. I just got struck. My property got struck with a crash. I'm a corner house, and it destroyed my fence. It's cost me $3,000 to replace the fence and everything. And it's so insane that's going on. People are driving so fast on path. Yesterday I go to Charles Park a lot of times. This truck ran up real quick to me just when I was at the block at 29th, just before you reach the 95. We're at the street light there. The car goes around into the other lane, this truck, and he goes through the stop sign and races past everybody. This happens every single time that I'm driving there lately. I'm at my house, I'm being struck. It's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry to hear that.
Speeding.
I will tell you, we do have, you might know, at every school zone now in the city, practically almost every single one, the police department now has installed these speed detection cameras, along with warning signage and speed limit signage, that at least during the 30 minutes before school starts and throughout the school day, and 30 minutes after school ends, you will get a $100 citation if you're going 11 miles over the speed limit. So if it's during school zone hours, if you're doing 26, $100 fine. If it's during the day and it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone, if you're going 42 or 41, you're going to get a speeding ticket too. And that's causing people to, once they get that first citation, and it's not a moving violation that has points on your license and you have to deal with all that. It's basically a fine, a dollar figure fine. Doesn't have an impact on your driver's license. But once you get one of those, we're seeing that, and you're getting a warning. Sometimes you'll get a warning first. People are really slowing down, and it's causing people to modify the speed that they're driving. And so just know there's a lot of them now in the city, and the more people realize, and they might not realize where I can get a $100 slap on the wrist, they're going to slow down. And that's Thank you all. Thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, Mayor. One more quick announcement. Next month's meeting, very important meeting here, the fourth Tuesday of the month of April, we will have Assistant City Manager Adam Wrightspot. Very, very good meeting because he's responsible for finances and also deals with our lobbyists in Tallahassee right now.
Two things. If you'd like to pick up one of these booklets, we have them in the back with all the subject matter that I covered today. And look, can you plug this?
I also want to plug, don't forget everybody, April 24th, 5th, and 6th, the Rotary, the annual charity auction at the Rotary, right around the corner.
I have tickets for the great $200. Let me tell you.
Here you go, right now. Siobhan.
Rotary, this is a great raffle. There
Mayor,
are
you're gonna work that
five
thing, aren't you?
$200 tickets to Scarpettas, to Capitol Grill, Carmela's, two others, but the one that's really exciting is the Catherine on Las Olas. So if anybody wants tickets, they are $10 a piece or 3 for $25. I am happy to get them to you. There's also the barbecue, and anybody, don't forget, please come to the Rotary auction. It is a super fun event, and it serves the youth of our community.
That's right. Yeah. Thank you.
If you haven't been to the Rotary auction, guys, come just as you are. It's all of us together having fun, bidding or not bidding or joking around and raising money for the kids. It could be a $5 item, a $100 item. You can get some bargains and eat good food. The women's club handles the food part of it, and just everybody volunteers, it's kids, and it's a great time. So please do come.
Great. Karen, we good? Anybody? Anything?
We'll give you one of the brochures. April 24th, 5th, and 6th.
At the Rotary.
Thursday through Saturday at the Rotary Clubhouse here on 24th and Taylor.
I don't see Commissioner Hernandez.
Say 7 p.m. till 10.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.